Hey superstars, welcome to the Get Rich Without Being a Bitch podcast, and I am your host Vanessa for this journey. We're going to be challenging some stereotypes, shattering glass ceilings, really looking at what it takes to live richly and to design a business that's going to support the life that you really want to be living. I'm going to be sharing lots of tips, tools, and strategies along the way, and I can't wait for you to join me on this journey. Welcome back, superstar. We are covering quite a bit of ground with these guiding principles because they're all important. Let's carry on. So guiding principle number 7. I am an authentic leader who is dedicated to personal growth. I know that my triggers and my self-limiting patterns are opportunities for growth. I actively seek to expand my courage, my confidence, and my capabilities. So let's go back to this one. I know a lot of women that are really dedicated to personal growth. I think it's actually one of the strengths that women bring to the table. They constantly want to improve themselves. They want to improve how they're showing up in the world, their leadership capabilities, and also that authenticity as well, right? It's acknowledging we're not perfect. Heck, I created these principles, and I can promise you with every inch of my being that I do not adhere to them 100% of the time. There are some that have still got gaps for me, right? I forget them. I need to be reminded. So it's not about that perfection. It's about being really authentic and being in motion and making progress. And that's part of that personal growth journey, right? It's understanding that, we don't have to be a perfectionist, but we just want to make sure that we are progressing. We can see we're advancing. Understanding triggers, right, and self-limiting patterns as opportunities for growth is really important because otherwise we'll constantly get triggered. We'll go into emotional spirals with things. These are places for us to look. These are places for us to get curious about, to start to understand where do we hold ourselves back? What are those patterns that we can still go into that potentially are not helping or typically aren't helping? They're holding us back. And to actively seek courage, confidence, and increasing capabilities. That courage is really important because fear is likely to be a companion for a long part of this journey or a big part of it. And courage is the act of understanding that there's fear, understanding we're going to feel uncomfortable outside of our comfort zones, but courage is still the ability to move forwards and take action, right? To build confidence is a really important asset. And it's one of those things that you can't take away from you. When you start to build on it, it just keeps building upon itself. And capabilities is all about expanding your skill sets. And again, these are things people can't take away from you, which is why they feel so good and empowering. Principle 8. Women, listen up. This one's an important one, and I've certainly struggled with this one myself. I surround myself with top talent who fully support my vision and celebrate our collective successes. I focus on who, not how, and empower a team of professionals to bring my vision to life. Again, there's a lot here. Women are not, I'm going to say this to you with love, but not always that good about getting help and support. Perhaps good at giving, but not receiving. And unless you want to get really burnt out and resentful, and frankly, perhaps a little bitchy, you're going to want to have some people on this journey with you. And people that are better at you than certain things, right? The members of my team, we all excel in different things. I'm actively looking out for other female professionals that are better at certain things compared to me. It just enhances everything we're doing, and it means that we're all working in our zone of genius. So we don't always have to be answering that question, well, how do I do this? It's more a case of, who do I need to help me? Interestingly enough, I was kind of getting stuck with even launching the podcast. I was into, how do I do it? How do I do it when I don't particularly enjoy my setup right now and I don't know all these things? And fortunately, a who came along and said she could help me and had the resources, right? So again, it was like, oh, I kind of forgot my own guiding principle. But we want to get people engaged with that vision, right? And build support structures around us. And when I say support structures, by the way, it could be family, in the personal life, business life, and or both. Really important. Number 9, I show up powerfully when I establish clear boundaries that respect my time and energy. I understand that my time and energy are the prerequisite for my creativity and high performance. I think women, and myself included, can be really challenged with boundaries. And a lot of this is because when we speak up, when we say no, when we've, shown ourselves to be more assertive, that term, bitch, can be attributed to us, or we can be perceived that way. And yet we then get burnt out. We're frazzled. We're the busiest ones. We don't have any time for anything. We're completely drained. Nobody gets the best version of ourselves. So boundaries are absolutely key. They're key to being able to show up as the best version of yourself. They are key to being able to lead a team, lead your business, have some reflective time for yourself, make sure that you've got that time for self-care and all of those other things that are really important when it comes to living richly. So again, start to look at those places where perhaps you've got some tolerations creeping in and you know full well that the boundaries aren't in place, right? And that's the skill set of building and practicing, setting better boundaries, starting to say no so that your yeses become more valuable. And then last but not least, I am an aspirational role model for expanding women's relationship to money and wealth. I exemplify and radiate generosity of spirit and wholeheartedness in all areas of my life. For me, this final principle is about encapsulating all of it. I really believe that we are lacking and we need more positive role models, that women that are really doing well, doing great work in the world, and that are fantastic people to be around as well. They've got that wholeheartedness that they bring to life and work. And I wanted to be a good role model for my kids too. Right? If they constantly saw me struggling, if they constantly saw me overworking, stressed out, burnt out, worrying about finances, worrying about some of the things that I experienced growing up, I knew that they would take that on. And so I wanted them to see a different version so that I could create a different possibility through not what I was saying to them, but really how I was acting and how I was showing up. I also know as well that by showing up in a different way, not only does it impact my children, but it impacts clients, right? We start to see different examples of what's possible. So think about that in that last principle. Who is it that you want to be a good role model for? Because people are going to be impacted by you. And you're either going to be impacting people negatively or positively. When I say negatively, it might be I don't want it to be that way, so I'm going to go and do something else. But it's way better to have role models where we can start to see actually what does it look like? And then we can start to take the components that feel like they're authentically aligned with ourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed these 10 principles. And I want to give you some tips as to how you can use them. Firstly, print them out. Recite them. See how they feel energetically when you say them out loud. Don't just read them, actually say them out loud and see how they feel. You can also look through them and start to look at the ones that you feel like, oh my gosh, these are not present at all. I really need to do some work with these. I really need to shift what I believe and the actions that I'm taking. So you can start to focus in on them. You're not going to focus in on 10 at once, and that's totally okay. But look at the most important ones that you feel will start to make a difference right now. And as always, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review. I'd love to know what you're finding valuable, frankly, what you'd love to hear more of. And also, don't forget to download these beautiful printouts that you can keep it in your office to keep you inspired, and also share it with a friend that could really benefit from hearing this too. Make sure you're subscribed on your favorite podcast channels, especially Apple and Spotify. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe so that you don't miss any of the future episodes. Can't wait to hang out with you again soon.